A new study just out from the Centers for Disease Control says the painkiller fentanyl is now the #1 killer drug in the U.S. The research reveals the drug most often listed on death certificates of overdose victims is now fentanyl. Fentanyl accounted for nearly 30% of all overdose deaths. That's 18,335 deaths in 2016, which is actually the most recent year for which data is available. That number at least doubled every year between 2013 and 2016. According to the Drug Enforcement Agency, fentanyl is 80 to 100 times stronger than heroin and cocaine. And unbeknownst to users of those drugs, heroin and cocaine are often laced now with fentanyl. The opioid crisis has destroyed entire towns in states like Ohio, West Virginia, and New Hampshire. And then there's this. A new Fox poll shows the crisis has now nabbed the #3 top concern for voters, now beating out the economy as a concern. But there's more. The White House now calling it a national security threat and blaming China for opening the spigot and flooding the U.S. with fentanyl. The U.S. does have a major weapon in the battle to push back this deadly tide hitting our shores. Narcan is made by Emergent BioSolutions, a life-saving pharmaceutical that reverses opioid overdoses. Emergent BioSolutions President Robert Kramer joins us now in a Fox Business exclusive on a very busy news day, swirling around this very issue that your company is trying to tackle. National security threat, this takes this crisis to a whole new level, doesn't it?
It does, Liz. I mean, the opioid crisis is very complex. It's going to require stakeholders in many different areas to help with the overall solution. Emergent BioSolutions has a 20-year history of partnering and collaborating with governments around the world to address public health threats. We've done a lot of work in the chemical space, in the biologic agent space, and now have jumped in with our acquisition of Narcan to help the U.S. government deal with this growing crisis.
Well, I think it's a big leap to say that the Chinese are trying to kill us all by, exporting fentanyl and importing into our country. But that almost seems to be the underlying message about the national security threat. You can destabilize a nation or a people with bio attacks. Back during the 1700s, you had British officers handing over blankets that were embedded with smallpox to the Native Americans to try and wipe them out. Ancient Assyrians were poisoning water of their enemies. So this could very well be something that's happening.
Well, I don't know about that, Liz. I do know that these public health threats are, again, very complex solutions. We're pleased to be able to do whatever we can as a company to help our government deal with this public health threat, arguably the #1 epidemic and crisis of today's time. Our acquisition of Narcan puts us in a really good position to help the government, and we're pleased to be able to play a role in that.
Has the government reached out to ask for help? Because right now, you just look here on the ground in the United States, and not that celebrities matter than any regular person, but Demi Lovato was saved by Narcan when she apparently overdosed. Prince, before he died of an overdose, was saved in another incident using Narcan. So has the government said, look, let's work together with you guys. It needs to be, I don't know where, in schools with all EMTs? I know many of them are carrying it. Medics, where else?
Yeah, so they have reached out to us, and for the last 3 years, we've been partnering and collaborating with federal, state, and local governments to make Narcan more available. And importantly, to educate the public on how important it is to make sure that they have easy access to naloxone products, whether it's ours or somebody else's.
And it's $130, $140 a unit there?
Yeah, the stated price is $125 per unit, which is for 2 devices. We offer that.
Hold it up, because you brought one.
Sure. We offer the product to our public interest market customers, so state, local, federal governments, for a 40% discount off of that price, such that it's $75 for 2 of these devices.
Good.
Or $37.50 for 1.
Well, you're doing great work. The stock is certainly up dramatically over the past year. As a business audience, people look at these things, but hopefully you continue to be one of the top fighters in this battle. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Robert Kramer of Emergent.